Hello and welcome to the GW13 edition of the FPL Scope podcast. I am your host Matthias, and with me as always I have my co-host Kevin, who is feeling Christmassy, I guess, because he's wearing his Everton Christmas jumper right now. It's getting close to December, and that means it's a really good time to be an FPL manager because there's so many game weeks happening. We're going to get 3 game weeks in a row now in a single week, which is going to be exciting for the first time this season. I'm really excited about FPL and the future of the few games that we have going forward. And Kevin is also excited because he has gotten a green arrow again now. He's up inside the 1 million again after getting some really nice points from Daniel Munoz mostly. So yeah, how are you feeling, Kevin, about the Christmas period and also your points from Munoz this past game week?
Yeah, in regards to Sweden and Christmas just in general, I'll be in Sweden for that period, which is always great. I haven't been back for a year because of my brother's wedding and all these type of things. So just very much looking forward to that. Very much looking forward to hoping to see a upwards trajectory with my football teams, FPL, and just generally speaking, just continue the good vibes. It's been kind of up and down with things, with Everton winning 1-0 against Man United and then Barcelona completely fucking up against Chelsea. So,
But
a
first
little
game
bit
at
of a
Spotify
hit.
Camp Nou, though, that was amazing.
Oh, yeah, 4-0 and against Nico Williams as well, who refused to come. So, definitely fun. But all things considered, there are reasons for why things went the way they did, and I remain hopeful for all those teams. So let's see. But very happy with the Premier League being back. Very happy with just no more international football for a little bit. So let's go into the score.
Yes, let's go into your score and let's not talk about the international break in Sweden anymore. 47 points for you, 14 points of those from Munoz, who is an amazing FPL asset who I don't have myself. That's why I'm currently that's why I am on my 3rd consecutive red arrow myself. But Kevin is on a green arrow, up to 928k overall. Munoz 14 points, Enzo 11 points, and then not that much from anyone else, honestly. But yeah, you did one transfer. Reece James out for Virgil van Dijk. Selling Reece James was clever, I guess, because he got subbed off at the half, got only 1 point. But Van Dijk didn't have the best time against Nottingham Forest at home. And now, right before we started recording this podcast, they lost, was it 4-1 in the end against PSV in the Champions League. Liverpool and Van Dijk, especially in this game, like the handball he had against PSV, I don't know what he was thinking, but yeah. Let's get your thoughts about Van Dijk's performances, is the transfer of him coming into your team, and your score in Game Week 12.
To begin with, Van Dijk has been on possibly the biggest disaster class I've seen in a long time. When he said, uh, next, like the World Cup is going to be my final international tournament, I totally understand why. He does not look like the big Van Dijk that we remember, and it's sad to see. It's always sad to see when some of these players who are at the height of their abilities. I mean, obviously, as an Evertonian, I'm delighted, but of course, like I can't disrespect someone's talents at the end of the day. And I think he is honestly one of the best center backs I've ever seen play the game. But lately, my God, I don't know if it's him. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if it's Arne Slot. I can't tell if it's an amalgamation of both things or if it's just he sucks right now. And it's hard to say because the Liverpool side that we've seen is much better than their like what they're showing right now. They
Yeah.
shouldn't be behind Everton in the Premier League table, and they shouldn't be this far away from being first because they're the current
Mm-hmm.
champs. So yeah, I mean, transferring Van Dijk felt like a double-edged sword for me. Mainly, it was that I was sick and tired of Reece James' inconsistent play. If he was
Yeah,
Cucurella, I probably wouldn't have made that transfer
of
because
course.
Cucurella has been playing 90. But the thing about Reece James is he's just so capable of so much more,
Mm-hmm.
and could get assists, could get goals, and all this type of stuff. But I need to get someone a little bit more consistent. I thought Virgil van Dijk would be the one. Simply,
He has been
also, it is
consistent.
also, yes, consistently shit.
Yeah.
And I think it's just one of those things where I was just like, okay, well, he's the popular pick. If I go against the popular pick and it, goes against me, then it bites me in the ass. But I guess in some sense, it gave me two extra points, but I do not feel great considering the fact that they're conceding so many goals. Not
Yeah.
even just that they're conceding a lot of goals, they're conceding a lot of goals at Anfield of all places.
Yeah.
So it's not looking good, bruv. But am I happy about it? Yeah, a little.
Yeah.
But
It's
the rest of
Liverpool.
the team, let's talk through it. Petrovic, what can I say? Didn't really have the best game.
No.
Bournemouth just didn't have a good game. And of course, like I knew it was written in the stars that Callum Wilson was going to go crazy.
Yeah.
So fair enough to him. And, to the point where he's made Fulkrug regret his move to West Ham. So crazy
Did that a long time
how
ago.
these things go. Obviously, Diouf came in for Semenyo. Had Semenyo played, I think it would have been a completely different game, to be honest, because
Yeah.
I think he's the exact sort of player that would have been the perfect thorn to West Ham side because I think they were able to contain a Kluivert and Semenyo-less Bournemouth. So,
Hmm.
they were able to get the business done in some sense because I think you would have, if I had asked you, would you take a draw in this game? You
Yeah,
probably would have
definitely.
said yes, right?
100%. Yeah.
So like even though you're technically throwing away a 2-0 lead,
It did, yeah.
all things considered, great. And Juf, DEFCON King, of course,
Yeah.
because I think the two times I've had him come into my team, it's been a DEFCON related thing. So maybe I should just start him. But every time I benched him, he's got a DEFCON and he's come in because I think he was on my bench boost that one time where he got another
Hmm.
DEFCON. So yeah, happy with that, considering the fact that Semenyo did fuck all. I was considering Goodmanson at one point to be on my first bench, but luckily Leeds didn't keep the clean sheet, which they looked like they were gonna do at some point, and then all of a sudden Villa
Yeah.
just turned it on. Calafiori, unlucky not to get more than his standard 2 points in a clean sheet dropped, but
Richarlison.
yeah, what a mega goal and Raya being stupid. Oh, because I don't. It's a great
Uh,
finish, but it's also like, why is he so off his line as well? But
because you didn't
again,
expect that. It was just Paulinho
Richarlison
tackle
has been
Richarlison straight
amazing.
away. Like it was,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
super fast.
credit to Richarlison for who's having a
Fantastic finish.
resurgence against. So good for him.
Spurs' most productive player by far.
Yeah. Would you take Barry and Beto on a swap deal, please? But yeah, I hope he comes back to Everton. He's not going to, considering the fact that I don't know. Like, if he wants
Should.
consistent play before the World Cup, he should definitely do it.
If
But
he
if
wants
he,
some love as well, like Spurs fans hate him.
yeah, it's true, and he loves Everton.
Yeah,
So obvious.
should go back.
So those are the defense. Munoz, obviously, mega goal. Really crazy to hear about everything that the fallout of basically his childhood friend dying and that
Hmm.
he left the national team to attend the funeral and help out with the funeral and all this type of stuff. And to poetic for him to then get a goal and celebrate and do it in his memory, which was really cool. And obviously, in terms of FPL, just went crazy because goal, clean sheet, all that good stuff. Yeah, you will suck up all the points. But Mateta, my God, he missed some obvious chances against
Yeah.
Wolves, and I'm a bit confused. I think I have only seen the situation once, so you might be able to provide a little bit more insight into it.
Hmm.
Was the Sar thing not a penalty? It was
Mm,
inside the box, wasn't it? It looked to me
yeah,
inside the box. I
looked
don't
looked a
get
little bit
how
like
they
it.
ruled it out, to be honest.
I don't know.
So that
They
could
have
have
their reasons.
also a very big butterfly effect because that's the SAR assist to a Mateta goal.
Yeah.
So, and considering Munoz is the one that people have less of, I would assume, right?
I mean, that's
Maybe
also assuming Mateta scores a penalty, which I don't think he would. Like, I'm not quite sure he would do. Especially with all the
I
penalty
don't know.
misses we've had lately. Like,
Everyone's missing penalties
yeah,
as of late, but
crazy.
yeah. In regards to midfield, yes, SAR should have possibly gotten a penalty in my opinion, but
Yeah.
only got the standard 3 points. Saka, DEFCON randomly, and did nothing in a 4-1 win, which makes no sense to me. But
I think it was
fair
just
enough.
Spurs
Saka
like
went,
marking out of the fixture. Like they
yeah,
were focusing on
and
him, and then they open up space for SA and the other ones to score.
literally anyone else is what they opened up
Yeah,
for because everyone got points in that game.
yeah.
Enzo, great game from him. Last minute, if not last minute, but pretty late goal.
Shout out to Mark
He's
Yu.
yes, and he
Great
should have
assist.
scored more frequently than he has
Yeah,
lately. He's been pretty unlucky, so it makes sense that for him to get a last gasp goal when everyone's probably shifted away from him. Paul Pedro, again, I like what I see out of him more than what I see in Mateta, to be honest, because Juan Pedro does a lot of good passes, does a lot of good
he's a
things.
good
The issue
player.
with him is he just doesn't get into the goals.
Yeah,
Like he doesn't get enough shots off. He's being a bit too unselfish at times, and then he's incredibly selfish when he's got the chance. So it's a strange one. And Haaland again should have scored in the game
yeah,
against Newcastle. All types of things, but it won't deter me from captaining him this week against Leeds. But
yeah.
that's pretty much the team. I considered Saka captain a lot, but it was just like a,
2 points
you
lost.
know, yeah, it's 2 points lost, but it was also like I also did expect him to be man marked out of the game, which is exactly what happened. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Honestly, they were both pretty good captaincy choices. I think, even though they both blanked,
yeah,
like Arsenal won 4-1 against Spurs, and Haaland had so many chances to score. So I think both could have easily had more
yeah,
on a different day.
definitely. But am I happy with the score? Considering the average score is like 39, yeah, I guess I am.
Yeah. Yeah, Green Arrow is what counts the most, and that's what you've gotten from this game week. Another person
Hmm.
that got Green Arrow this game week was Kimo, who is the third founding member of the FPL School podcast. He got 56 points, some of it a bit lucky with Timber coming in for Semenyo. I don't know why he would bench Timber, but he'll have to answer for that, I guess. But Munoz with 14 points, of course, here as well. And the main man, Yankuba Minte, on top of having Enzo here as well. Kimo, who wildcarded in Game Week 10. So he has a pretty fresh and nice team. Pretty interesting with 3 Bournemouth players on the bench in the end there, with Semenyo getting auto-subbed off. Kirby Jr., who had so many big chances to score, by the way. Like, he easily could have had a haul in this game, that game against West Ham. And then Trafford, of course, conceding twice and got a yellow card, I guess, which is why I got 0 points. All in all, 56 points from Kimo. He did the same sort of transfer. Virgil van Dijk in, that is going to be a recurring theme of this episode. And for most managers, really, he was the most popular pick because, yeah, Liverpool have a lot of good matches. And they have looked, like not too long ago, they looked really good defensively against both Aston Villa and Real Madrid back-to-back. They kept a clean sheet and won the games. But now they've just completely lost it completely. So, yeah, don't know what to make of that, really. But anyways, 56 points. Only 1 free transfer made. He still has 4 free transfers available for next game week as well. He had 3 more transfers to use this game week if he wanted to. But yeah, I don't know who he could have brought in that could have made it that much better, because this was a bit of a wonky game week with not that many high-scoring players. And Kimo actually had most of them, really. I guess he could have gone for SA. He could have had foresight to get him, but not that many people did. So yeah, we'll get to one who did pretty soon. But Kimo, 56 points. The auto sub with Semenyo out for Timber. What do you make of Kimo's Game Week 12 score here and his decision to make only 1 transfer when he had 3 more available?
Yeah, a bit of a weird one, but considering the game week was so weak as it is, and you're basically outscoring it by 25 points or
Yeah,
something like that. Well done. I can't really fault him
yeah,
for how it got played. Of course, benching Timber might have been a strange move considering the fact that um like I get why he benched him in that regards, but I
yeah,
also think out of all those players, like Timber is one of the most obvious ones. You could start, especially with the Reece James news, I would have expected him to have benched it. But if Reece James had just played 90, he would have outscored Timber.
yeah.
So I get it. And because it's a North London derby, yes, it required a Richarlison crazy goal, but a goal was there. Like there was, I felt like that was always going to be a given personally, which is why.
Uh, 007 for their XG, 0.07 total. into that game.
Of course, but again, we're not making these things live. We're going
Yeah,
into
yeah,
the
yeah.
game thinking they're
Sure,
going to concede,
sure.
and fair enough, they did to a brilliant Richarlison goal, and
I think we both had them
um,
conceding. Yeah, I think we both had them conceding in the predictions last week.
yeah. So you know,
Yeah.
um, so fair enough. I can't really fault him. I wonder just if he had looked at a FPL tips video and before making all of his decisions again.
Yeah, that remains to be seen. I can actually check that as we speak because, of course, he is a content creator that is available to look at what his transfer moves have been. But that's going to take a little bit of a while probably. So, yeah. But anyways, Kimo, he has free hit and bench boost left. We'll get to the free hit talk potentially in Game Week 13 with his plans because I do have a free hit option for Kimo that we can talk about later in this podcast, of course. Also, the bench boost left. Like I usually say with the bench boost, just get rid of it whenever you feel like your bench is like okay. Kimo has a pretty strong squad all throughout, really. You can see like the starters are really good, apart from maybe James with his minutes, but could get him on a good week, I guess. And then all the bench players are Bournemouth players. So if Bournemouth have a really good game, and Palace at the same time probably, then you can always bench boost. So yeah, but I wouldn't worry too much about the bench boost. It is a burden more so than actual helping your team. So yeah, get the points that you can from the bench boost, I guess. Moving on to someone who had an even better game week, we have Mohamed Mia with 76 points in total from this game week. Munoz as the captain. That's always something that's really fun to see. Differential captains is something that we don't really see that much, but this guy went for Munoz rather than going with Haaland, and I'm not sure if that was the correct decision before the game week, but it led to a great result with 28 points for Munoz, doubling up the 14 points that he had originally. Gahey also getting a clean sheet from that game. Timber, of course, with the assist for Arsenal. Eze with the hat-trick, 20 points in midfield. One of the few managers with Eze this game week. And other than that, not that many points really, but it's still a really solid team, I think, throughout. Isak in the team is a bit like, I don't really know about that, but I don't know. He's playing West Ham next game week. Maybe that will be his coming back story because he usually plays amazing against West Ham, both him and Salah. So I'm kind of terrified in that regard of Liverpool as a West Ham fan, since they both usually score a lot of goals against West Ham. It's only Lukaku who betters them, I guess, against West Ham, and Rooney. Two Everton legends. But yeah, anyways, 76 points for the manager of the week. Interesting also with Mamardashvili now being auto-subbed off for Dubravka. No goalkeeper to speak of apart from Dubravka here, so just depends what you want to do with the goalkeeper situation. But it's still a pretty cheap goalkeeper pair because Mamardashvili is only 4.3. So yeah, could just stick with Dubravka, I guess, and not care about it, but we'll see what happens there in the future. Also with the chips remaining for this manager, only triple captaincy left, which is also going to be really interesting for Game Week 13, of course, which we'll get to eventually in this podcast. But yeah, looking at this team, the same transfer as Kimo, Gabriel to Virgil van Dijk, 3 points from van Dijk there. First of all, what do you make of the rogue captaincy shout for Munoz, and would you ever think about captaining a defender this season, considering they have been so good in terms of getting points?
I mean, considering that we were discussing how defenders might be the new meta, and considering the fact that I didn't buy into the whole DEFCON thing, preseason, all this type of stuff. It was just DEFCON, defenders is the new meta. Defenders, at the end of the day, they might have been right, in the
Yeah,
sense that, but I also think that's a lot to say that it's just been wildly inconsistent in all positions because there was a time where none of us were able to keep clean, like we couldn't have clean sheets in our team unless you had an Arsenal player and these sort of things. So
yeah,
it's been wildly different because captaining against Holland is also a dangerous feat. So credit to him,
definitely.
because I think it is fair to have captained someone against Wolves. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
The opposition helps,
yeah,
and
it
the
does.
fact that because it would have been a cheeky 12 to 14, potentially if it was with like a DEFCON 18 pointer thing, for it
Hmm.
to end up being 28 is pretty bloody fantastic considering the fact that he scored, he got the bonus, all of this type of stuff. So yeah, well done. That's a good shout. And maybe he knew going in about the whole, like I didn't know that he left I mean, I didn't really pay attention, but in specifically to Colombia or anything like that. But I didn't realize that Munoz the whole storyline stuff as well. So he might
Yeah,
have gone with that, going in with that, and I know for a fact that a lot of players who brought in Eze last week was specifically because Fabrizio Loser was just like, "Oh, here we go." Well, he didn't actually here we go it, did he? He said it was just
I think so.
close.
Yeah, as if
It's
he
not
told
one of
us
his
correctly, he
actual
did
failed
actually.
here we go.
I don't
He
know.
might have here we go'd it. Either way, scumbag. But yeah. So fair enough for having as a, and fair enough for having as a over Saka right now because I feel like Saka is the most obvious pick for Arsenal. But considering Aze's goals contribution as of late, fair enough. Well done.
Hmm.
A lot cheaper too, and doesn't even take penalties.
Yeah, I mean, Eze is a fantastic player. We have always known this, and with Ødegaard out the last
Hmm.
few game weeks, he's been a really good asset to have in FPL. And also, he's
For
just
sure.
showing up in these storyline games. Crystal Palace gets a goal, Spurs gets 3 goals. Yeah, he's going to be a difference maker for Arsenal. He has that X factor that helps them. So,
Hmm.
yeah, he's a fantastic player, and yeah, I would just keep him at this point. Trossard got injured now, I think, in the Champions League, so maybe he'll
He
play more
did.
on the left. Even with Ødegaard back, and Ødegaard is still going to be eased into it because he's had so many injury issues this season. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see Arsenal in general, how they develop throughout the season. Yucker is coming back at some point as well. Still don't know yet when that will be. He's still not in the squad, so Marino could also be a shout in midfield, I guess. But yeah, SA 20 points is fantastic. Munoz as well, to go back to that thing again. There was like a game week not too long ago when a lot of people, or some people even did go for Gabriel as captain. He got 12 points, and then Haaland just ended up with 13 points in the following day. So that's typically what you would expect, and that's, I think, is what this manager also would could have expected in this game week, because Haaland had so many chances to score, but sometimes it just works out to go for the punt, and that happened this game week, and that's always fun to see when a manager does that. But we'll see what this manager does with potential triple captaincy this next game week, which we'll talk about pretty soon. But first and foremost, we're going to talk about the games that are happening in Game Week 13. There are a lot of interesting games in terms of a free hit as well, because yeah, we haven't actually discussed which matches we'll talk about here. So yeah, first and foremost, like, which matches do you want to talk more in depth about in these matches? Like, you can pick one match, I can pick one match, and then we obviously have to talk about Chelsea Arsenal as the main game. So which game do you pick? For me, I think
Rob,
I'm probably gonna go Palace against Man United. I think, especially since we
yeah,
have different
that was the
results.
game I was gonna pick,
Okay,
but
cool.
I guess we can go in a little bit in detail about City Leeds. Talk a little bit about the assets
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I mean, we're gonna talk about City assets in the next segment anyway. So we should have done this before the podcast, but anyways,
Yeah, I mean, otherwise, another game that we could talk about is Nottingham Forest Brighton. I think that's
yeah,
an
it's
interesting
an
one
interesting game as
considering
well with everything that's happening there with
what's
both
been
teams.
happening with both teams. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. So I'll take you through the first few games, and then we're not going to talk about any of the games actually in depth, but then you can talk about the latter games and have some questions for me, I guess, with the 3 matches
Yeah.
that we picked to talk about more in depth. But first and foremost, the first game we have predicted there is Brentford against Burnley, which is going to be a huge game for anyone on a free hit, because Burnley at home is the best fixture in the Premier League still, probably, that and Wolves at home. So Villa against Wolves is also another fixture we can talk about throughout this podcast. Brentford against Burnley, we both have a pretty decisive win for Brentford. I have 2-0, you have 3-0. Both seem plausible to me. City against Leeds, I've gone with 3-1, you've gone with 4-0. Honestly, I think your prediction is more close to what it could be. Maybe they'll try to match Arsenal with the 5-0 win earlier in the season. But City should be huge favourites in that game at home. Sunderland against Bournemouth, we both gone with a 2-1 Bournemouth win at the Stadium of Light, but I think Sunderland are starting to show some cracks. We were going to look at the fixture ticker pretty soon, and their expected goal numbers have gone quite a bit down since previously in the season. And I think also with African Cup of Nations, they're losing like six players to that, and most of them are not really like main players for them. But Sadiq is going to leave, and he's been a major factor in their midfield. So yeah, it's going to be some struggling times, and Bournemouth are still a really good team here. And we both expect Semenyo to be back, but maybe not. But we'll see. Everything is Newcastle. Interesting game. I go with a 1-1 draw. I figured that would be a good result for Everton, but you've gone with a 2-1 Everton win there. Quickly, would you take a draw currently, or would you still like just go for a win there?
I'd be happy with a draw, but I think we gotta let some of this become momentum. It's always so haphazard with Everton. It's always
Mm,
stop, start. We always get a win, then we draw and lose again. It can't ever just been win, 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 win.
yeah.
So I'm hoping for a win. I think we're also capable of it. We're showing a bit of an uptick,
Mm-hmm.
and we've always been good at Hill Dickinson. And obviously, Spurs was a bit of an anomaly of a result, but
Yeah.
I think we can get back into winning ways. And also, uh, very happy that Everton, the Newcastle lost in midweek as well, and we won in midweek. So
Yeah.
let's take it. Don't
Newcastle
build to
away
that.
or Newcastle away from home is not the same as Newcastle at St James's Park, so I think that could also go to the benefit of Everton. But yeah, I got a 1-1 draw there. I think both teams are pretty good. I don't really know how to place them. I think they're both like around like the 8, 9, 7 best teams in the league, maybe. But it's going to be an interesting game for sure. Spurs against Fulham, I have a 1-1 draw because I think Fulham have looked a bit better, but that's been more at home rather than away. So maybe Spurs 2-1 win. But Spurs have also been terrible at home, so I don't know. Something has to give in that game, I guess. But I've gone with 1-1. You're going with a 2-1 win for Fulham in that game. And that leads us to the second half of the fixtures where you'll take us through and ask me questions, I guess, from the main games. Palace, Man United being one of them.
Absolutely. Considering that you think it's going to be a Crystal Palace win,
Yeah.
and I, for whatever reason, said it would be a 2-2 draw. I don't know. I maybe think that they want to try and get Amarim not sacked. Um, so part of me just believes that there'll be a draw. But in this game, if you weren't to pick some of these obvious picks in regards to a Lacroix, Munoz, Mateta Sar from Crystal Palace, and if you were to pick a differential from Man United, who would be the two differentials? So one from Palace and one from Man United.
I think
It
for
could be any position.
Yeah, I think for Palace, like I think the pretty like obvious thing, especially after he got like a really good goal last game week, is Jeremy Pino. Like he's been looking really lethal in a lot of games. Like he's in great positions. He's still sort of getting used to the league and stuff, but he is a fantastic talent. Like we know that from La Liga, like how good he's been with Villarreal and stuff. Like he's a really good player. He's also got the number 10, I think, for Palace. So there are a lot of high hopes for him. He basically replaced Eze, so I think he is a really nice differential player there for Palace. When it comes to Man United, in terms of differentials, I mean, they don't really have that many players left, with Cunha still being a bit of a doubt for this game, I guess. Sesko is injured. I mean, Amad Diallo is always someone that can pop off and get 2 goals all of a sudden. Like, he could be the reason that they get a 2-2 draw here. So, it might be him. It might also be like Man United always concede. I was going to pick like someone that, like De Ligt, who is like decent both ways, but I just wouldn't trust Man United defense. So I think I would still just go Amad Diallo out of the obvious ones. But I think honestly, like I have in the prediction there with 2-0 for me. You had 2-2. I think it's just going to be a typical Palace 2-0 game. Like that's typically what they do. It seems like, especially nowadays. So I would expect them to score. I just wasn't impressed with Man United offensively without Cunha and Sesko. It just really depends if Cunha is back or not, whether they have a chance in this game or not. For me.
Oh, for sure. And I think that's more than reasonable. I think the only differentials that I might have picked out myself from the two listed is Tyreek Mitchell, man. I like him way more than people give him credit for. Like I think he is like a he reminds me so much of Wan Bissaka before he went to Man United. Like he's got that little bit of zhuzh about him. I don't know. I really like Tyreek Mitchell. The only thing that I would say about Pino is I hope he gets consistent playing time. That's
Mhm.
sort of only been my one concern about him. I actually do like the Delict shout. I think he has goals in him. He is sort of like a slab head in terms of that. Like he can get some headed goals in there, but also just think he is a much better defender than what Man United
Yeah,
version of him
it's
is
much better than Van
because
Dijk this season.
which is crazy to say, but
Yeah,
he is. I
yeah.
mean, I don't think that's such a crazy thing to say. I mean, Liverpool fans will tell us to hang ourselves or whatever, but um, in that regards, I do think that Delict is a good shout. The only other person that I really like is actually Ahmad, as you said. I think he
Yeah.
could absolutely explode, and I think he's a good shout. So I do agree with your Man United picks. I do think that Mitchell is
Hmm.
a lot better than people give him credit for because people are looking at Lacroix for the DEF CON, and they're also obviously going for the Munoz and Grays of the world, considering that they get the points and consistently play. Gray is obviously trying to get a move to Barcelona and Real Madrid and these sort of clubs because what the hell is he doing lately? But enough about that. We both predicted 3-1 to Aston Villa, so we think it's just going to be a classic cookie cutter game for them. And we know that Aston Villa just concede in every game. So, yeah, feels like there's not much we can talk about there. But probably going to just be an easy win. Maybe like a random goal at 2-0 up where they concede and then they score again. So, not much that needs to be said there. But in regards to Nottingham Forest Brighton, I came very close to actually writing 2-2 there myself. I don't know
Hmm.
why I went with 2-1 because I think Brighton's way better than Nottingham Forest. But maybe they want to build on the Liverpool win. Maybe Sean Dyche has finally got them clicking again. And that's partly why I was just like, huh, we'll see. And unfortunately, this is before the your whatever are they in the Europa League or Conference League? Europa
Nottingham
League?
Forest are in Europa League. They forced
Yeah,
themselves in
because
there, and
they
Palace went down to
threw
Conference League.
Palace down. Yeah, weird situation. But in regards to the game, if you could list the top three assets across both teams, so you if it is just three Brighton players, I'll give it to you. But who are the top three assets that you would look for in this game?
I mean, for this game specifically, not long term.
Yes,
I mean,
just this game.
since I've gone with 2-2, I'm obviously going to go with offensive players. And for me, like I
Yeah,
think this is also the same game where Nottingham Forest beat Brighton 7-0 last season with a hat
yeah.
trick from Chris Wood. And currently, the guy who's been scoring for Nottingham Forest, or who's been playing up front at least, is Igor Jesus. And I think he is someone that could get a lot of goals. He had a goal disallowed now this past game week against Liverpool, which I don't really get why, because it didn't really hit his hand. And then they checked it, and then
No.
they still disallowed it. Like, I don't know. That looked less dubious than the other goal that they scored, which looked like offside again. Which like, there's been so many weird like offside type of goals where people have been standing in the way. Even Arsenal's goal against Spurs was a bit iffy, I think, in that regard. But Vicario sort of should have made a bigger deal out of it when that happened. But anyways, back to the question. Gibbs White is the one that I listed in my free hit prediction or free hit suggestion early in the week. I think he's been getting a lot of goals lately under Sean Dyche. He seems like a Sean Dyche type of player. He's gotten goals in each of the last 3 games, I think, in the league. So I think he's a good player, both him and Igor Jesus. Finally, like even though he's not he's a defender, and I've gone with 2-2. I think Nico Williams has just impressed me so much. The former Liverpool defender. He's looked really good, I think, and super attacking this whole season. He's been like the one, like pretty good. I mean, now with Murillo being back, he's been really good in defense as well. But Nico Williams, both in terms of attacking potential, clean sheet potential, and DEFCON potential, like he has all of that. So I think those 3 would be like the main guys I would look for in the Nottingham Forest team. When it comes to Brighton, the main man is Minte, as always. Like he's been fantastic for them, and I think you sort of can't go away from Welbeck either. He's been great lately. Fantastic finish from the Minte cross last game week. Then the final Brighton player. I mean, I've gone with I've talked about Gomez before, but his minutes are a bit more iffy now, so I probably wouldn't go with him. I don't know. And Verbruggen has been getting a lot of points lately. But we both have not the best experience with him in FPL, especially you last season. So, yeah, I think it's just mainly Minte and Welbeck, and then, I don't know, Weaver, I guess. Defcon King scored a goal last game.
Fair enough. I mean, in regards to the players that you mentioned, all fantastic picks. I think, especially Igor Jesus, I think he's criminally underrated, to be
Yeah,
honest. And
he's been good.
it's funny that they've wised up and gone, you know what, Chris Wood, you had your moment in the sun, but it's time to set sail because, yeah, Igor Jesus is so much better than he gets credit for, and he's shown in the Europa League now. He's gonna start showing it even more in the Prem, and I think he's a quality player. And Morgan Gibbs White, Marinakis held him at gunpoint, like you're not going to Spurs, fuck that. And yeah, you know what? He's proving his worth lately.
Good decision.
I I was one of the people who said that Nottingham Forest is likely going to stay up, and you know what? Credit where credit's due. That's what Sean Dyche does.
Yeah.
He's a manager who gets teams to stay up, and that's it.
Did
So
get relegated sort of with Burnley though. He was sacked
yeah, but
before, but
Burnley sucks. Burnley are fucking Burnley. Okay, like the Scott Parker, you can switch him with Mikel Arteta, they still get relegated. Okay, like it's not. This is the history of the Burnley. Like this is just they're just crap.
but also
But I
I
digress.
forgot to mention that one thing. You're going to be the biggest Nottingham Forest fan tomorrow because they are facing Malmö FF.
Yeah, okay, fucking Sean Dyche, my hero, fucking legend. Destroy them. Fuck Malmo. Oh my god. Anyways, sorry to any Malmo-based fans. Go fuck yourselves. Anyways,
Unsubscribe. Just get out. Just leave.
so, but we'll move on because unfortunately we'll be just briefly because it's crazy that we both went with the same result, all things considered. But your beloved West Ham, we both believe will lose to a Liverpool side that is
Believed.
currently.
Before this was before the Liverpool loss against PSV, but yeah, I still think 2-1 is fair. But yeah.
Yeah, it is quite funny that we both believe that, considering Liverpool are probably playing worse than West Ham right now, which is not crazy to say. Of course, they did win against Real Madrid and Aston Villa recently, but besides that, what else can they say for themselves? You know? But we both think that due to Liverpool having just West Ham's number, technically speaking, because of certain players like Mohamed Salah and Alexander Isak. Because I still think that was it. It is against Areola where he like chips him and like sort of does this like
Yeah.
pose next to him and has they
Yeah,
both see
Ariola
it.
came out way too far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it seems like it's just going to be a cookie cutter win for Liverpool. Do we think it's going to be an easy win for Liverpool, or do you think that they're going to have to scrap for it? Just briefly.
I mean, since I've gone with 2-1, that's sort of what my thinking was. And then I saw them play now against PSV, and they just got absolutely cooked. So I don't really know what to make of Liverpool at this point. Also, I looked up I think like the Twitter profile XG Philosophy, I think it's called. They showed like the XG of Liverpool and their opponents the last like few games, and like Liverpool actually had like 6 point something, and the opponents had 5 point something. But in terms of actual score, it's 1 goal for Liverpool and 10 goals for their opponents in the last few games. So yeah, they have sort of been hard done by a little bit because they have been like pretty good at the start of games, and then they conceded, and then they just completely folded. Like their mentality is just down in the dumps. So it really depends if West Ham can get that early goal. Maybe anything can happen, but what I've been thinking is like 2-0 Liverpool, and then West Ham score a goal, and it's like sort of close, but they managed to get a win there. So yeah, that's what I'm expecting.
The Jared Bowen audition game, maybe?
Stop. It's not going. Why do you go to the loser pool? I don't know why.
Me neither. And finally, we have the obvious super duper game of the game week, which is with the red hot Arsenal. And I gotta say it, red hot Chelsea too, which is crazy to me. From going to winning, losing to Sunderland at home, and then beating Barcelona at home. It's a crazy couple of weeks for them, and they've been winning a lot of these sort of matches that they should be winning, and they've shown some fight against the top six clubs, including beating Liverpool earlier on in the season. But
Big
you
six
still
clubs, not
believe
top six clubs, but yeah.
true. But my question to you goes: you think it's going to be a 3-1 win, which means a dominant win for Arsenal? But the question then is: okay, you still believe that they'll concede in said game?
Yeah, I mean, it's just Chelsea have a lot of good attacking talents. Like they have enough to work some magic there and get a goal from out of nowhere, like we saw it with Richarlison, to be honest, this past game week. So I think Arsenal will still be like the main guys in this game. But I think it's really interesting, especially the fact that it's at Stamford Bridge. I think if it was at the Emirates, I think Arsenal would sort of do like their whole old shtick, but since Chelsea sort of have to attack this fixture. Like, this is a huge game for Chelsea. They've been in really good form lately. They are the closest team to Arsenal currently in the table. They're playing at home. It is a London derby. They just have to go for it. Like, this is their chance to show that they actually have something to do in the title challenge. That's why I think they're going to go for a goal, but I think Arsenal are just too good to like let in too many goals. Like, they don't typically concede that many goals. Like, they conceded twice against Sunderland, fair, but like even against Bayern, like, it was a fantastic goal from Bayern that made them score that goal, and then other than that, they didn't really have that many big chances. So yeah, expecting Arsenal to just be good again, as always, like they typically do. Set piece FC. They have a lot of talent. Regardless of that, Ødegaard's coming back into the swing of things as well. He scored a brace against Chelsea in the past, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I think Arsenal have enough firepower to win this game. But yeah, I could see Chelsea getting a result as well. Like, they have, like I just mentioned, a couple of reasons why they have so much to play for here. It's going to be a really interesting game for sure, and I quite like that it's the final game of the game week as well. It is truly the main event of this game week, and I'm super excited for it. But I think Arsenal are just in such a good moment now. I did had this prediction even before they beat Bayern, and now I feel like even better about Arsenal because they looked pretty dominant against a previously undefeated team in Bayern and beat them deservedly so, 3-1. So why not the same against Chelsea?
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, the only thing that I can say uh, in regards to that is I think Chelsea are one of those sort of sides again that tends to turn up in these sort of matches. So I that's why I went with the draw myself personally. I think Arsenal. I think it is quite literally like a year ago where they ended up getting 2-2 at Stamford Bridge where Rice scored like a pretty crazy goal. So fair enough. Yeah, I think it's perfectly fine to give both clubs credit.
It's
They've
2 years ago,
definitely
right?
shown it. It might have been actually two
We were
years
at
ago now
in
that I'm
Barcelona
thinking.
for your birthday for your 30th.
Yeah, maybe that's what it
We
was.
were, yeah. Watched that at a
Yeah.
pub, I remember.
Uh, yeah. Was that game? I guess it might have been.
It
I
was.
feel like I've seen Chelsea Arsenal at in Barcelona multiple times in just that one time, which is crazy. But yeah, in regards to just a final summation of the game and just Chelsea and Arsenal, it's pretty crazy that we're at a position where these two are now potentially duking it out. Because if
Mm-hmm.
Chelsea managed to win, that is a crazy tipping point. I don't think it's enough though, because I think Arsenal have enough buffer there where they have easier fixtures ish here and there. Uh, but it'll be interesting to see because Chelsea are obviously missing Cole Palmer, Arsenal's missing Gyökeres and Gabriel and all this type of stuff. So, bollen är rund, as we say in Swedish. It'll be a very interesting game to spectate, and I am going to be going into it slightly neutral. I would have probably been a bit more, because my big brother is a Chelsea fan and stuff. It would have been a bit more, but they just fucking beat Barcelona. I can't. I don't have it in
That's
me
true.
to be like, yeah, you know what? Go on, Chelsea. Fuck off. You beat us 3-0 and you sent Araujo back to space. Like, I don't need this in my life right now because he's gonna miss the chance. Fuck's sake. Anyways, it's gonna be a really interesting game. But one final question in regards to the game:
Sure.
if you were, because we think defensively there is no point in this game because we both think that they're gonna
Um,
concede. You could see Arsenal probably keeping the clean sheet out of the two, but if you were to pick, and I want you to think about this really hard. If you were a manager, FPL manager, who for whatever reason doesn't have Eze or Saka, but have the budget for both, not in the sense of having both in your
one,
team,
one or the other.
one or the other,
Yeah.
which one would you pick and why?
Okay, I was gonna think about. I thought you were gonna go with like which defender I would pick, and I would be like super quick with that answer. That would be Timber. But in
Yeah.
terms of Eze or Saka, I think I would still go with Saka. Like, I think he just has the penalties, like the more like secure minutes. I guess now with Trossard out, maybe Eze plays 90 minutes, but he's more. I mean, saying that, Saka always gets subbed off with or at least in seasons past, he's been subbed off with a limp.
Because he
But
lips.
yeah, but this season not so much actually.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that as much. Maybe he has gotten like he knows the rumor about him or like the talk around him about that. So maybe he's trying to hide it a little bit more this season. But yeah, I think Saka for the minutes like security more so than Eze. Especially with Ødegaard now back, who's probably going to come on, maybe for Eze in this game. The penalties, of course, and I think he's just going to strike back and like, yeah, he's shown against Chelsea in the past. Speaking of that game, we saw that 2-2 game. I think he had like a brilliant assist for the first goal in that game, if I'm not mistaken. And then Declan Rice scored against Chelsea, which he could typically do as well. So, yeah, I would go with Saka, but it is, of course, more popular to go with Eze because he's just scored a hat-trick and it is a statement game again. So I think both are pretty good options, but Saka is just more secure for me, especially with the penalties as well. This is a penalty type of game as well, I feel like. So yeah, I'm going to go with Saka over Eze there slightly.
Fair enough. And over to you.
Yeah, I also just wanted to touch on, like, I think, like you mentioned, like how it's kind of crazy that these teams are like sort of going head to head, both being top of the table. But honestly, I think like with City, they are always going to be there, especially with Pep there. But I feel like Pep is going to, he's not going to be there for like in 3 years' time. I don't think Pep's going to be at City still, and I think City will definitely feel the brunt of that. I think they're going to struggle a bit after that. And I don't think their squad is like particularly like super like set up for the future. Of course, Haaland they have. But I think actually Chelsea and Arsenal might be like the next big rivalry in the league. Like Arsenal have so many good young talents, and Chelsea, for what it's worth as well. Like Palmer, of course, is really good. Enzo Fernandez has stepped up massively and been fantastic. Or you could say he's always been great. You said before the season that he was one of your favorite midfielders in the league, and he's shown that this season. Caicedo is amazing. Even their wingers now, which has been like sort of been talked down a little bit. Like Pedro Neto has been really great the last few game weeks. Garnacho is showing some nice things off the bench. Even Gittins has had some really nice moments this season, even though he's been like a bit lackluster in his first season. And of course, Estevao is coming through. He's amazing. Quenda, who plays for Sporting, he's also like basically a Chelsea player at this point. He scored now today, I think, in the Champions League. Like,
yeah, he did.
There's a lot of good talents for Chelsea. Like, Tim should not listen to this, your brother, because I always say fuck Chelsea because I don't like them. I don't like the way they do, like, basically just pump out, like, bring in talents and just keep them on loan. And then, like, I don't like the way they run their club, but I think it's kind of working at this moment in time. They're getting a lot of talent. So I think this might be like the big rivalry the next like 5-6 years. Like it could be.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I think it's one of those things where maybe Todd Bowley should get more credit for what he's done because he's very much moneyballed it.
Yeah.
I do think he's done a lot of stupid decisions too, don't get me wrong. But where he got it right and where Chelsea, in terms of sporting decisions and stuff, Estevao, Cole Palmer, some of these they're going to be career changing for both players and for the club because Estevao, I mean, everyone knew Estevao was amazing. Palmer's way a bit more of a hidden gem that just completely worked out for them. But Estevao, getting Estevao over Barcelona, Real Madrid, and some of these other clubs that were going after him might end up being like just they've now found their version of like their region of Eden Hazard. Like in that regards, they've got their winger for the future, and I've sung his praises. I mean, man, he was known as Semenyo back in the day. So, like, I wanted him at Barcelona. I'm super jealous that he is at Chelsea. But at the end of the day, we also have Yamal. So, like, it worked out in that regards. I think it worked out for both players that they're at different clubs and whatever. But Chelsea have done some really clever things. The one thing that I think they need to recruit better is defensively because I think that's the one thing and obviously the main thing that Arsenal have over them. Defensively, Arsenal are going to destroy Chelsea in that regards, but I think offensively, Chelsea have some quietly good players. I don't think they're, doing the Saka Eze's of the world in terms of, the points, but they're slowly gathering momentum. Like you said, Garnacho off the bench or even as a starter could be that version that all these Man United fans have loved him for. You have Gittins who showed flashes of that at Dortmund.
Hmm.
You then have like the list goes on because Chelsea moneyballed everything. They have like 5 million players for the same position.
Yeah.
So
We
of
didn't
course,
even mention
eventually,
Mudrik.
no, who is unfortunately banned forever. So
Yeah.
yeah, but again, I also like Mudrik. Like regardless of all the shit that he's got, I
Yeah.
still think he's got a little bit in him. But let's see.
You'd take him at Everton.
It's 100%. I mean, I take
I
most of
mean,
Chelsea
Grealish and
players.
Njai at the moment is tough to beat, though. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, currently, I mean, all right, Jesus, Everton are doing well for once in their lives, so it's
yeah.
nice to be back. We're back, baby.
You'd
It's
rather
cool
take Mark
science.
Yu up front.
1 million%. They can take Barry if they want, and
Yeah.
he'll end up being a good striker for Chelsea because, of course, Barry's good. He's just, I don't know. There's just a bit of disconnect there. But he won all the aerial deals against Man United. I think he had like a record amount, like 14 or something like that.
Yeah, he's a
Crazy.
talent. Like I think he has a future at Everton
Yeah,
though.
of course.
So yeah, but
Beto's not.
Beto does not have much of a future at Everton. He's been not the
No.
best the past
No.
game weeks or this
Sadly,
season.
he had a run of 5 games where he was God, but then
He was
yeah,
good. He was good in those 5
Norberto
games.
Beto. But yeah.
Yeah, I still think you should get Mikel Antonio pretty soon. But anyways, let's move on to the fixture ticker, and the main team here as well is Liverpool yet again. But we had them pretty high in the fixture ticker last game week as well because they had Nottingham Forest at home. We figured that would be a great game for them, and then they lost 3-0. So we talked enough. We've made enough fun of Liverpool in this podcast, I think, already. Maybe,
Yeah, sure.
Maybe we can always make some more fun of them, but I
I
think
will make more
I
fun
think
of
Man
them.
City, they had Newcastle away last game week, so that was sort of like a tough game week, and then of course they lost that game, so warranted. It was a tough game week, but now they're done with like their main hard matches, and they have fantastic fixtures. Like even beyond game week 18, I think they have a couple like super nice matches after that as well. So City assets is something that I think should be discussed more because of course everyone has Holland. But apart from that, not that many people have City players overall. So yeah, I'm just like gonna ask you straight up to rank some City assets like behind Holland, who would be like your top 3, or like maybe just mention like 5 players potentially that you are considering from City if you were to buy someone for this really good fixture run, and try to
Yeah, I
rank them
mean,
as well.
sure. I mean, I think from the obvious picks, you have Holland, obviously number one. But
Yeah.
if you were to go without Holland, I would say the following players. I would say Doku for sure,
Mm-hmm.
having sort of the season that I expected to have from the get-go, but finally he's getting amongst the goals, getting amongst the assists. I would say um, we were discussing this off recording. I mean, I like Nick O'Reilly a lot, but I am scared about his minutes. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
He, I don't think he should be the one who gets sacrificed in any sense of the mean because of the things that you mentioned, which was obviously that I know he wasn't very good in his sort of comeback-ish game, but also that Nikolai really has been great in the Champions League as well. He's just been really good for City
He
in
has
very
been.
pivotal moments. So I think he's a good shout, especially at 5.0.
Just quickly on O'Reilly, like since he started his first game of the season against Man United, game week 4, he's played 80 plus minutes in every single
Yeah,
game apart from one, and that was Aston Villa where they lost.
yeah,
So yeah, he's been fantastic for them, and he's been playing regularly, 90 minutes pretty much every single game week as well.
for sure.
Goals,
And I think
assists, clean
he's
sheets. Yeah.
Reinders, man. I would say
Season 1, episode
because
1,
you're
Reinders.
not calling fuck off. He shouldn't have done that tweet, idiot. Um,
When's
if you're
episode 2?
so Holland doesn't
No, he's of course
doesn't
number
count,
1.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So are we gonna
Doku
do a 5 without Holland, or are we gonna do a 5 with Holland?
without.
Okay, without. I would say Doku
Doku's the main
number.
guy you're considering.
Yes.
Okay. Why?
Why do I think Doku, or
Yeah.
why? Um, Cheap enabler ish.
You're not worried about his
6.5, right?
minutes?
I do, I do, but I think it feels like Doku's become pretty essential to the team.
Yeah,
And I think that's the
he's been
most
amazing.
important thing. And I like his boom or bust sort of because he's a boom or bust player. Like
Yeah,
there's no way to say against that because I do think that um someone like Foden for 8.0 isn't the worst and is now consistently playing every game,
no.
but he's also not done very much.
Yeah,
He's a strange one, right? Like, how do you go from being young player of the year to this bullshit? So, um, yeah, so I still think I rate Doku a bit more. The only thing that I don't like about Doku is sometimes the decision making ends up being really stupid. Like sometimes he'll try to dribble past four players instead of just a simple cross to hold on. But in terms of FPL news, that's great. So I'd say Doku number one. I would say probably Guardiola number two
mm-hmm.
because
Safety of
consistently
minutes.
plays.
Yeah,
I'd say O'Reilly number three.
yeah.
You might hate me for this.
No, I know who you're gonna say.
No, you don't.
Donnarumma.
No.
No, okay.
Donnarumma is more
Just
safe,
Nunez.
so I would probably yes.
Yeah.
I think I think he is differential city, right? Like I think he there's just something about him. Also because I think it's he does play right back at times, but he also does play in midfield. So I think it's quite um, game breaking that he's listed as a defender. He's also slightly cheaper than Guardiola and Ruben Diaz. So yeah, and if he consistently plays 90 minutes and Pep continues singing his praises, I wouldn't really hate him. But
Not that good.
he's maybe a bit too much of a differential, so I'll probably say Donnarumma and then
Nunez.
Diaz.
Yes. Ruben.
To but I like him.
Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't mention Cherky.
I love Shirky a lot. I think he's great. I think he is going to be one of the best midfielders in the Prem. The only issue that I have with him is I don't know what the thinking is there with him, considering his playing time has been a little bit inconsistent. I understand it's injuries, I understand it's match fitness and stuff, because credit to him, he scored against, no, he assisted against Newcastle and
Yeah.
got two assists against Bournemouth and then scored in like game week one or whatever. Like the
Yeah.
talent is obviously there. I do rate him more than um, Foden, for example, because he's pretty much the same price as Doku
Mm-hmm.
ish.
Yeah.
But the issue is just not knowing his playing minutes. I would
Mm-hmm.
definitely have him over Doku if I knew he was playing 90 minutes.
Yeah.
I think that's a crazy assessment, maybe, but uh, Sharky's great. He's
Yeah.
a wonderful player, but it's just not knowing his minutes right now because, like, he played what 52 minutes against Liverpool. He played 76 against Newcastle, so that's a bit telling and got himself an assist. Then he got 72 against Bournemouth at home. Nice, nice, nice. And then, yeah, it was like 5-14. So I just want to wait and see.
Yeah.
But I do think eventually you will need to get Shirky in again.
Yeah. I think the main takeaway from the players that you listed as well is that you are more keen, like, apart from Holland, of course, who's going to get pretty much all the chances for City. Like, that's been like the case. Of course, Doku is the other guy who's been super involved in everything City have done offensively, pretty much. But other than that, you've gone with like mostly defensive players because City have been pretty good defensively. Of course, when you get Donnarumma in goal, that's what's going to happen. He's a fantastic goalkeeper. And Ruben Diaz has been playing consistently as well this season, which is a big plus for them. So yeah, defensively they have some good options. Guardiola, I was kind of disappointed to see his points total, like only 32 points I think so far, 35 points. Seems a little low for how it's gone so far. Ruben Diaz has 52 in comparison. He was injured first 3 games of the season, of course, but still, like it's quite a distance there. So Guardiola just doesn't seem to be as good. Like pretty much no DEFCON points. So that's why I'm like a bit more iffy with him. Hasn't really shown much goal threat as well this season. yeah, but he has shown in the past like he has what it takes to go forward. But it just doesn't seem to be his role this season, so I'm a bit more iffy with him. But yeah, another team or player I want to talk about is Semenyo, basically, because he's going to be someone that is like, do you sell him? Do you keep him? And looking at these fixtures, like he has really good fixtures across the board for the next 6 game weeks, but a lot of that is, of course, the heavy lifting there is Burnley at home and giving 17, which is quite a while away from now still. Sunderland away, which is a tough stadium to play at, Stadium of Light. Everton at home, like, don't really know what's going to happen with Everton, like you mentioned before. Like, they are a bit up and down. Chelsea at home. Chelsea are a really tough team to play against now, so even if it is at home, it is going to be a tough game. But I think Bournemouth, don't they have like some decent results against Chelsea the past few years?
They have decent results against everyone, including Everton, to be honest. So
Yeah.
it's a bit of a strange one, but I feel like Chelsea have also been better away from home than Stamford Bridge, which is strange to say. So I don't know. Yeah, I think it could be mixed bags either way.
Yeah. And then, of course, Man United, and then they have Burnley, and then Brentford away, which is also like tougher game. Like, I should probably make that like a grey fixture because it is, not a light blue fixture in terms of difficulty rating. But yeah, so they have some nice games. As you can see from the expected goals there as well, they've conceded a lot of chances, but they've also created a lot of chances. Like, they're amongst the top there, pretty close to the third spot there with 10.1 compared to Liverpool, who are third with 10.7 the last 6 game weeks. But yeah, so just ask the question, like, Semenyo, is he someone that you're looking to potentially sell? Is he someone that you would keep? Like, well, what do you reckon with Semenyo for these next 6 fixtures?
We feel like a Man City and Liverpool, who both play Sunderland at home rather than away. For example, if you do want to do a little rental before game week 17, I'm not personally against it.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, we don't know what the situation is. If he does have a ankle injury, or if it was just really enjoying his proposal, I don't know what's going on with Semenyo
He's
right now.
apparently sick or illness as well, is what I read. So, like, several things.
Yeah, and considering the fact that Liverpool have good fixtures, City have good fixtures, uh, his former teammate Dango and Shane could be a fun little um, could be a really fun differential too. You know, people are looking at Kevin Shada. There are other players at similar price points, or you know, he does take up not a lot, but still a noticeable amount in that regards, where you can do touches to your team. Obviously, I wouldn't go for a Wolves player instead of Semenyo, but in terms of the other teams like City and Liverpool, maybe I would consider getting rid of Semenyo for a little bit, just a little bit, until he comes back, because he's probably lost his penalty touches too, which was a huge reason why it was fun to have him. Because I'm assuming once him and Kluivert are back on the pitch, it's not going to be him, right?
It's hard to know at this point, really. We haven't really gotten that question answered this whole season, so we'll see. I don't even know how long Kluivert is out for, so it'll be interesting to see. Tavernier scored a penalty now against West Ham, so it's anyone's guess, really. But yeah, I was a bit wrong when it comes to Chelsea against Bournemouth. Bournemouth actually haven't beaten Chelsea in the last 7 games. But when they beat them 8 games ago, they beat them 4-0 in 2019 after a Joshua King brace, the Norwegian Joshua King, not the Fulham one. So yeah, but yeah, they haven't had the best of luck against Chelsea. So yeah, but I don't really think that counts for much either. Bournemouth are a way different team now, and they've been in a lot of those matches. Chelsea are always a very different team than what they've been in the past, because they buy 50 players and change their managers every 2 seasons. But yeah, I think Semenyo is like a tough one. I think for me, especially as someone that has the wildcard left, I'm slightly tempted to sell him potentially. I think I would, if he's fit to play in Sunderland, I would probably give him that game and then assess after that. But Everton at home is not the worst. And then you're getting close enough to the Burnley game that you want to keep him as well. So yeah, it's just hard for me to get rid of him as well, since he's been so good for me this season. And yeah, I have a lot of affinity for him. So that's my struggle with him in general. But yeah. I think that's pretty much it for the fixture ticker. I mean, Igor Thiago is someone that we'll talk about when it comes to the plans, because there have been some transfers made already, and there have been some potential transfers with him involved as well. We'll get to that pretty soon. And he's also here in the weekly wildcard drafts that I've made for this week. He is actually my number 4 pick because I think the Burnley at home fixture is just such a standout. And then, sure, Arsenal always tough, but then Spurs, who have been a bit shaky lately, and then Leeds at home. I think those are really good fixtures. But yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about him. We talked about Riley and City assets as well just now. Dewsbury Hall. I'm not going to mention the fact that you sold him and then he got a lot of points, but as an Everton fan, that must be pleasing to you anyways. But overall, I think the team is a pretty solid one. I made 6 changes from last time around. Van Dijk out is one of the main things. We've talked a lot about Van Dijk, but I just don't trust him, or Liverpool for that matter. Semenyo actually out on the Walker team, which is interesting. I think it's just because there are so many good options right now. I think Saka's really good, and Mbeumo is still, even though he didn't look the best against Everton, he has good fixtures pretty soon. Minte has been fantastic, and Sarr just has to score at some point. But I think the main guy I want to talk about actually from the Walker draft here is Mateta. He was subbed off after 59 minutes this past game week, and the score was actually still 0-0. I was, for some reason, I had convinced myself differently. Maybe it was like a coping mechanism to just want to keep him, but he was subbed off at 0-0 after 59 minutes for Nketiah. So, because Nketiah has been injured a bit this season, are you worried about Mateta's minutes? Are you worried about him as an asset? What do you make of him as a player with Man United at home and Burnley the next 2, but then tougher fixtures after that? Like, what are your thoughts with Mateta and potentially keeping him or selling him or something like that in the future?
No, I think I still think that he's their number one option. He might have had a bad game, but I think that could come down to fatigue. Maybe it might have been fatigue or something like that. And if that's the case, then give him the rest in midweek. I think midweek tomorrow will be very telling.
Yeah.
Thursday will be very telling to see what the situation is with him as of late. But I think we shouldn't worry too much about him. I think he'll bounce back, and it's uh, not the easiest match at home as I intended, but you might think is walk in the park for Palace. But they have the fixtures to sort of go with it. Burnley next, and then Fulham as well. So who haven't been that great. So I think Mateta's fine. I think we can give him one more week. I'd potentially just give him until the Burnley game and then switch over. Potentially for the likes of there's going to be a bunch of returning players by that point. So maybe, yeah, go back to Gyökeres. I don't know what I'll do, but Mateta, I don't feel too weird about it in that regard. So I'll give him that. Sarr has just also been dreadful in the same run of
Yeah.
games. So like he plays 90 minutes at least or whatever, but sure, I don't think Sarr is really. It's probably why he went from being 11 to when he could have been like 6
Yeah,
in
and
your
from
picks
3rd
and
last
stuff.
week to 11 this time around.
Jesus Christ. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we shouldn't worry too much about Mateta, but worry your cheeks off if Thiago doesn't go crazy, because I'll blame you.
Yeah, fair. He's been good for me. Brought him in and got 13 points. He missed, of course, the second penalty, which would have gotten in another 13-pointer, I think, for the second
Yeah.
game in a row. But he missed the penalty, let Verbruggen save it. And that's actually a nice transition to what I was going to ask you next, because Verbruggen has actually been included in this team because he's really cheap.
Dog
He's gotten
shit.
a lot of points lately. And I know that you have a lot of bad feelings about him because he was your partner alongside Flecken last season to start last season. And they kept getting points on
Bunch
your
of
bench
assholes.
and not scoring when they started for you.
Are they both
So I was going to
Dutchmen?
ask you, like,
Flecken's German.
who is actually the best goalkeeper right now? Like, if you were on a wildcard, like, who would you look at for goalkeeper? Would you just forego goalkeepers completely and go with Dubravka? Or is there someone else? Would you go with, like, a big 6 goalkeeper? Would you go with someone else? Like, who's your goalkeeper of choice at this moment in time if you were to choose someone on a wildcard?
I mean, Pickford is always great.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I obviously have a lot of affinity for him, but I also
Yeah.
think that on the matches where he's good, he gets like a double digit sort of 10 pointer. He gets like a decent amount of saves, gets a bonus there, and all this type of stuff. So I think he's great. I think Donnarumma is obviously a decent-ish shout
Yeah.
because he'll consistently play.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like Trafford's gonna all of a sudden start playing he'll play in like these cup games and stuff, but I don't think he'll take real precedence in the Premier League matches. Um, I get why people have Raya, but Raya doesn't get enough saves to warrant it. So I think Donnarumma and Pickford are the ones that I would pick over him. I would have said Vicario in earlier in the season, but right now I definitely don't think that.
No,
With Allison back, you would have maybe thought something, but nah, he's not worth it either. So
definitely not.
I would actually say my top three might be the lines of Pickford, um, Pickford, Donnarumma, and Henderson. There you go.
Henderson.
Well,
With that many good
eh.
Palace assets, you would go to Palace goalkeeper. He's been
No,
doing well for my dad's team, to be fair, but
I
yeah.
just didn't want to say Verbruggen. And
Yeah,
I'm not
that's
going to say
fair.
Sells either, even though they may have sorted themselves out.
Themselves out. Sells out. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll see myself out for that one. But anyways, he is in my team actually, Sells, and I've just been waiting for them to get some clean sheets now. And of course, he gets the clean sheet the first time I bench him, but that's besides the point. But yeah, I think he's like a decent option. I have Nico Williams as a defender here because I think he has that attacking potential, like I mentioned previously in the podcast. But Sells, like I'm not too hasty with selling him. I know with my goalkeepers personally, like they always do terribly when they have them, and then once I sell them, they turn out to be amazing. Goalkeepers I can never work out, so that's why I have so many issues with it, and why I asked you basically. But yeah, let's move on to the next part, which is the plans for this upcoming game week. Your plans have already been executed with, I haven't even included it in the full graphic. But João Pedro to Igor Thiago as the striker for your team. That has been your transfer made. You're earning money from that as well because João Pedro is more expensive than Thiago. João Pedro's fixture run has run out. He got 1 point this past game week. And now Igor Thiago has Burnley at home, which is a great fixture for him to jump on that bandwagon with, basically. But overall, your team, a lot of away games. The home games you have is one of them is Enzo at home against Arsenal. You also have the triple Palace players against Man United at home. And then, of course, Haaland against Leeds at home as well, who's your definite captain this week. I don't think you're going to sway away from that. So what do you make of your team in general? Any other moves you would potentially make for -4? Or are you happy with where you're at now with Thiago coming in for João Pedro up front?
Obviously, with the money saved there, there's a little bit of freedom to mess around. Could it be a midfielder? Potentially.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very much considering a midfielder. The question is whether I'm going to go for someone from City, like the Dokus of the world,
Yeah.
which would be an easy transfer in, or would I go for Shirky, for example, because I do rate him higher than Doku. It's just not knowing what to do, and considering I've made a lot of -4s. Thiago to Juan Pedro, I should have just gone with Thiago in the beginning, but my plan was always to bring Thiago in after at this point because I thought Chelsea had the good fixtures. They did win. It's just
Yeah.
that Juan Pedro just didn't do enough. And
Mm-hmm.
in regards to
You got 9
Igor
points the first
Thiago,
game week. That was pretty good.
yeah, it was pretty good. But
10 points
you
for 2
know,
game weeks, not the worst.
yeah, but he Thiago should have really gone 26 over two,
Yeah. He got 17.
which yeah, which is crazy. At the end that he only beat him by that, considering it came down to a penalty miss. So yeah, happy to bring Thiago in. I feel like Juan Pedro's now going to score against Arsenal because it feels like such a curse of the striker move sort of thing. But yeah, rest of the team, I'm pretty happy with it. Virgil's looking, God. Maybe I should
It's
just
my
start
West
GIF
Ham.
just to piss off pool fans. But Petrovic, I don't know how I feel about him. He's so sometimes he's a really good goalkeeper, and then other times I'm like, oh my god, that was such a stupid
Yeah.
goal to concede. Like he just palms it straight to them.
He's cheap at least.
So he is cheap. He's a cheap enabler. But I'm not gonna go minus for a
Nah,
goalkeeper.
definitely not. Petrovic is fine.
Yeah, so kind of happy with the team. I think it's pretty, especially with Thiago coming in as well, which I think will be likely a popular transfer for the week. I'm assuming
Mm-hmm.
you would assume most people will transfer in.
Yeah, I think a
Igor
lot of people are on
Thiago,
free
or it's not
hits,
good.
and he would
Yeah.
definitely be in a lot of free hit teams. And yeah,
Yeah. So I think it's also that. I think a part of me is also banking on I don't have free hit, but a way I can sort of catch up with free hit people is by having the Tiagos of the world.
yeah,
So happy with that. I need to see more from Sar. I need to see more from Mateta, and I
yeah.
have a feeling they're going to both do decently against Man United. It's the right sort of team to be face. They should be facing to sort of get things going, and
Huge game for Amarim.
it is a huge game. That's why I think
Defining.
it's going to be a draw. But
Yeah,
um, yeah, this is also a huge game for Glasner because he probably wants the Man United
that's
job.
true. It's huge for him.
So
He can sack
yeah,
Amarim and take over the job.
yeah, exactly.
Uh,
So it's a lot riding in this game. So very happy with that. But Semenyo is going to be it's going to piss me off to no end if he doesn't play. That's
yeah,
going to be a huge trouble point because
your bench is a bit
unfortunately
weak. Yeah,
my bench is weak, but it's not only that my bench is weak, it's particularly that they're all facing pretty terrible teams to be facing. Like Fulham don't have an easy game. Obviously, Leeds are going to get absolutely creamed, and Juve has a pretty easy game to be fair. That's why he's first bench.
that's true. You could always start him as well over Enzo or Semenyo if Semenyo's out. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we'll see what happens with your team. You are currently in a decent position, at least with the green arrow from the past game week. And Igor Thiago, of course, someone that I have and has been doing well for me despite that stupid penalty miss. I think that is the right move for what it's worth. That is the move that I had originally as the projected move for you before you told me that you'd already done it. So it makes sense to me, at least, that you've gone for Igor Thiago for Joao Pedro. Now let's see at Kimo's current plans. He has some interesting options. He has 4 transfers available and 0.5 in the bank, so he could go crazy and do a lot of transfers. He could also just stand pat because I think the team is like pretty solid overall. Like it's probably slightly preferable to your team, I would say. It's just like on the whole of it, he has been so benched in this suggestion that I made, basically. But you can also do some transfers. Reece James out. He's been a bit up and down when it comes to minutes. I think O'Reilly is still a great pick. Leeds at home. I think this is a good game to jump onto him with, especially with what happened in the Champions League where he was rested and then he had to be subbed on because Pep wasn't happy with what he was seeing in the first half. So I think he's a good pick. And then I've had like the goalkeeper potential move because Chelsea could score against Arsenal, but I probably wouldn't do a goalkeeper move, even though Raya is someone that I'm not the biggest fan of as an FPL asset because he just blocks an Arsenal potential player who can get more points. So yeah, that's why I'm considering slightly like going away from Arsenal goalkeeper to open up that third Arsenal spot in the outfield players. But the other option is, of course, the free hit, which we'll get to. I have a free hit suggestion as well, but if he were not to use the free hit for some reason, if he has like pointed out some game week that he really likes as a free hit and he's not going to use that chip, what would you do with this team as it currently stands?
Yeah, I would do the James transfer. I think it's the easiest thing he can do, and for the rest of the team, actually looks good for the match day. The question is because he has so many transfers, you might as well do the goalkeeper transfer. I'd
Maybe.
say
Yeah.
I would I would say go for both, and you can shore it up a little bit. But completely up to him, and he's gonna do whatever FPL Tips does. So everything will be all right.
That's true. The only thing with the goalkeeper transfer is like I don't know if there's any goalkeeper that would want long term has a really good fixture this game week. Like for Bergen is the one I listed just because he's cheap and Nottingham Forest, but I predicted 2-2 in that game, so it's probably not the best game week to do it either. So
Hmm.
yeah, I would probably just wait and assess with the goalkeeper. It's a reason why it's option 4 and it's like with the red font and everything because it is like a bit of a radical move. But yeah, maybe I would do O'Reilly, but I'm not quite sure who I would bench out of the current starting 11 either. That's the other downside. Like maybe Senesi against Sunderland away.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
Van
think
Dijk
that's
against West Ham would be a bit silly, but
no. I think Senesi might make the
Senesi
most sense
probably.
considering.
Yeah. So that's why I'm not too, like, I think standing pat and just doing nothing as well isn't the worst move. Having 5 free transfers, you can do a lot of those transfers. Sort of have like a mini wildcard for gaming 15 before you get those 5 new transfers in gaming 16. Like you could be in a really good position that way. So I don't mind saving quite a few of these transfers either for a better time to do these changes. And he also has 3 Palace players, like we just saw. Like they are going to get tougher fixtures. They have really easy fixtures now in the next few, but then after that they have some pretty tough fixtures, and Sar is going to African Cup of Nations, and Buemo is going to African Cup of Nations as well. Minte and Semenyo are not going to African Cup of Nations because both Ghana and Gambia did not make it there. So that's an interesting thing there. But yeah, his midfield is full of African players, so that is fitting for Kimo because he is from Egypt. He is from Africa himself, so he's lacking, of course, any African or any Egyptian players. No Salah and no Marmoush, but sort of makes sense with how they've been playing lately anyways. But yeah, I think we're both sort of like are a bit short with his plans for Game Week 13 because we both, I assume, would think a free hit is the best option still. Yeah. So let's just move on to like a free hit suggestion that I have. It's kind of similar to what I had previously in the week, but I've made some small changes. I think Njai coming in for Gibbs White, I'm still a bit unsure. Like that fifth midfielder, I haven't really managed to pin down. I also selected this team before Liverpool lost 4-1 against PSV, so I don't really know what to double up with Liverpool players. Salah, I think, makes sense. Get your Egyptian guy in there. Against West Ham, he has a good record against them. Gakpo had at least an assist, I guess, for the goal. He had the deflected or the rebound shot that Szoboszlai scored from. So I think both picks are like decent picks for what it's worth. West Ham have conceded a lot of chances and a lot of goals lately as well. So yeah, but overall, just quickly going through the team. Martinez in goal from Aston Villa, playing his Wolves at home. Double up with the Aston Villa defense with Cash. O'Reilly, who we talked extensively about in this podcast, he's playing against Leeds. I'm pretty sure he's going to start now with what happened in the Champions League. Timber, just both attacking potential and defensive potential, playing for Arsenal. I think he's the best defender in the game currently. Salah and Gakpo, just because West Ham are bad defensively, and those guys should be good, at least in theory, but Everton, sorry about that. Terrible Freudian slip there. Liverpool have been just terrible lately. Everton, on the other hand, have some nice options, and Jai is someone that I am hugely fond of, and would be nice to have him at least for parts of the season. It's really sad that like Everton's best run of fixtures is coming when he is at African Cup of Nations duty. Rodgers at home to Wolves, another player I have a lot of affinity for. He's a good player. Doku for City, we just mentioned him a couple times. Haaland captain makes sense. Thiago, we just mentioned several times as well. Like I think the strikers, pretty simple choice there with Haaland against Leeds at home and Thiago against Burnley at home. Any players that you would talk about here from the free team? Anyone that I've missed out potentially on? Would you be interested in Watkins? He's been terrible this season, but Wolves at home, could this be the game week to jump onto him for? Like, what do you make of that team? I can always check out the fixtures as well if you want to see the full fixture list.
I guess you could, instead of NGI, if you want to, you could always make NGI someone slightly cheaper and mark him. But I think Rodgers is good enough coverage. It's just a question of whether you want to go with any of the other strikers, for example, Mateta, or if you want to bring in a Sar or even... Yeah. But considering it's Man United, like, I completely understand this. But my question to you would be, would you not go with a different defender than Timber?
No, Timber is locked in.
Fair enough. Okay.
Scored against Bayern, assisted this past game against Spurs. Should have had a clean sheet there. Honestly, like against Bayern, could easily have a clean sheet if it wasn't for that really good goal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's just too good. So yeah, I would just keep him for what it's
worth. Fair enough, okay. But other than that, I don't really have that many qualms with the team. Yeah. Obviously, Gakpo might be just a bit
and I'm thinking that, like, you mentioned the Palace thing, like, throughout this podcast when we talked about that fixture, just feeling more and more like I need some Palace coverage if I was on a free hit. So maybe Gakpo to Sar just to cover that, because the Liverpool seems a bit too much at the same time.
I think Salah's, for all it's worth, is worth having against West Ham.
This is your chance to have him. That's one of the main reasons to free hit, I think. Like your chance to get Salah. That's why I, in Game Week 3, like, I didn't have Haaland from the start of the season. And one of the main reasons that I did free hit in Game Week 3, which I've talked about extensively on this channel, It's part of that reason was because I was able to get Haaland early on against Brighton at home, or Brighton away was that game, but still against Brighton, a team that has conceded a lot of goals, and that worked out. Got 9 points from him. But I think Salah just makes a lot of sense with the money available. He's not looked the best, but he should have had an assist for Van Dijk. He headed it over, like a really nice corner from Salah, actually, that Van Dijk should have scored from. But yeah, they're both really struggling currently alongside Liverpool. Yeah, I think Salah is the main guy to go for. Looking at the fixture ticker as well for Game Week 13, any other players you would potentially consider? I mean, Brentford, a lot of people have double up with Sade, for example, or you mentioned Dango a couple times. Defenders from them, Collins could be a good option, but I don't know. They have some decent players. Spurs against Fulham at home. Would you go for like a Kudus? Probably not. Kolomwani scored twice against PSG. Could he be an option? Richarlison is always an option. Like, would you risk it with any Spurs players? Van de Ven? I don't know.
Maybe like a player like that, just because Fulham have been so inconsistent, but they might show a little bit more pizzazz about them because it's a London derby and they are coming off a win against Sunderland. Who was it that they beat in the end?
What, Fulham? They beat Sunderland 1-0.
Yeah, exactly. So they're coming with a bit of momentum. So, nah, I'd say still stick with the players that you got, like Wolves, Burnley, Leeds, West Ham, are the teams to target against.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't hate the Wolves or the Fulham shout just because I think Marcus Silva's garbage, but I think the teams or suggested players are more than good enough.
Yeah, I mean, there are, of course, a lot of good options. It's always the case on a free hit. It's always tough to choose, but yeah, I think the midfield is more where I'm a bit more iffy about. I think Salah, Doku / Foden, and Rodgers would be like nailed on for me. Njai, Gibbs White, Sar, Gakpo, couple options there. Even like the Arsenal players as well. Like, I wouldn't be too against, like, Rice has scored against Chelsea in the past. He could be a good option. He almost scored a really nice goal against Bayern Munich. Eze, Saka could still be good players. I've gone with a 3-1 win there for Arsenal, so they could also be good options. But yeah, that's always the risk with free hits. Like, you could always pick out a team that scores less than your own team, especially with this, where you look at Kimo's, like, the differences in the teams are like very stark. Like, there's very few players that are in both teams, actually. It's basically just Haaland and that's it from the starting 11. And Timber. Haaland and Timber is what I've kept. But I still think like the original team, the OG team for Game Week 13 for Kimo isn't too bad either. So yeah, gonna be an interesting decision for him to choose free hit or not free hit and who to pick on a free hit. Like, it's gonna be a huge swingy game week for sure, and that's why it's interesting to talk about in general. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the Kimo free hit suggestion team. The final team that we have to discuss is the manager of the week, Mohamed Miah, who became the manager of the week because he scored the most games, or scored the most points in Game Week 12. And he had joined the league, the mini league, the FPL Scope mini league for that matter, with the league code FNPQ83. You can tell that it's been a long podcast and it's late because I'm stumbling my words. But anyways, the manager of the week has also like a decent-ish team. 1 transfer, 0.6 in the bank. And again, I think Joao Pedro to Thiago is the main transfer to make here. Joao Pedro just hasn't shown enough for him to be trusted against Arsenal, but that's famous last words. And Thiago is a really good option against Burnley at home. But the main thing here that I want to discuss is the chip left triple captaincy. And I think this manager should go for it. At home to Leeds, again, a storyline game. He is born in Leeds. Hold on. That's where his dad played alongside City and a couple other teams, of course. But it just seems like a really good game week when most people are using their free hits. You can triple captain on a free hit. Most people have used their triple captain already. There are some that have both triple captain and free hit left who are going to use free hit instead. And Leeds at home, like, I think it is a good bounce back game. I also think like there could be a little less confidence in Haaland because he just blanked. Like, that's just how casual managers think, at least. Like, he blanked, he got 2 points. Why should I captain him this time? I should change. But we know better. We know that he was likely to score last game week. Didn't, unfortunately for him. But Leeds at home is a different beast to Newcastle as well. Like, that's going to be an even easier match. So, yeah, is it as easy for you to go with Joao Pedro to Thiago and Haaland as triple captain, or do you have any other options for this team?
No, I think option one is the most clear cut thing you can do. I think Isak at this point might be like a crazy differential to have.
Yeah.
It's so strange to have him of all players and not Saka, for example. But hey, it worked out. Eze and Isak, I guess, was a better combination of Thiago and Saka. So, yeah, but what I would recommend would be, as you've done it there, Thiago in option one and triple captaining Holland. There's no reason not to. He didn't even start the Champions League game because I
Hmm.
guess City thought they were gonna like absolutely just 10 changes. What the fuck were you thinking there?
Yeah.
But I guess City just heavily rotated and Holland got quite decent amount of rest. I mean, he played like
Yeah.
maybe like 20 minutes.
And
He
got
did come
several
on at
chances
some
to
point.
score as well in that
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah. And he rounded Fleck and fucking Thorn on my side. Um, because yeah, I have him in Champions League fantasy, and
Hmm.
obviously that didn't work out with him. I mean, I did captain Mbappe today, which went very well, but fuck Real Madrid. Um, so yeah, I think Holland triple captain and Thiago in super easy moves. Really jealous because I did say many weeks ago that I would also triple captain Holland against Leeds. So
Hmm.
yeah, fair enough. Go for the storyline.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I think the transfer makes sense. I don't think there's too much else with this. I mean, there's one thing I wanted to mention as well. That's on the bench. Elliot Anderson has been fantastic this whole season,
Yes,
especially now
yes,
at Nottingham
yes.
Forest looking a lot better. Brighton at home, we both have them scoring a goal or two.
Hmm.
Anderson has been really good for DEFCON points. He's had like every single game he's been above 10 defensive contributions, I think, this
Hmm.
season. He's on set pieces now. He even took a penalty a couple game weeks back. So would
Hmm.
you potentially start him over, like, I guess, Senesi or
Yes,
Isak if there's rumors about him being benched potentially?
yes.
Yeah, he would.
Either one.
He would start Anderson.
Yeah, I think Anderson has for the freaks that have him should be playing him
I
more
mean,
frequently. So
gotta sort of hand it to him. Like, he is looking like a better prospect than Reinders at this point.
yes. So everyone who was just like, oh, Elliot, yeah, you got it right. Well done. I mean, I
Not for the
don't
first
think
game
you
week. We
got it.
had a glorious episode one, season one. But
And I got him in for the Arsenal game, so and where he got a random
that's
assist
true,
where
yeah.
and
And
DEFCON and all
Defcon that
this
he didn't even
bullshit.
earn.
Yeah. So you know what?
Still a great player though. He still has a lot to show
Season
in the
one,
Premier League.
episode 6. Like I was there, but
That's true. That's true.
um, but I obviously still think Reinders is a million times better than Elliot Anderson. It's just the output is obviously skewered to Anderson. So fair enough. If you have him, play him
Yeah,
because I mean, if he is actually the penalty taker as well, that's absolutely insane. I don't
don't
know
think he will be. I
how.
think it was just mainly people being out. Like Gibbs White was subbed
Yeah.
off. He's missed the penalty
Yes.
though, Gibbs White, so he could still be
Yeah.
behind in the pecking order. Douglas Luiz
Yeah.
was not on the pitch. Chris Wood was not on the pitch. I don't even think Igor Jesus was on the pitch. He would most likely take the penalty either
He
way.
had a lot of mitigating circumstances to
Yeah,
why he
but he
took the
is
pen.
one
But
of the penalty takers
yes,
at
he
the
is
very
one of the
least,
penalty takers.
and he plays
He
90
is
minutes.
actually he plays 90 minutes, is good for DEF CON, and he's actually got really good passing to him. Like I've seen some of his through
He's a
balls that
great
he does.
player.
He's bit annoying in it. So
Showed a game week one, the pass to Wood, like, it was a fantastic goal, all things considered.
oh yes. So I do think that Anderson has warranted it. I do think it's a bit hard to bench Senesi because he gets random DEF CON and
Yeah.
assists and
He could have had three
goals.
assists last game. Like, the assist he actually had was super nice for him as well. Really a nice goal from all, anyways.
Argentina, that's what I'm saying, bro. Like that's just what they're
Yeah.
about. But I would give Anderson the benefit of a doubt because Brighton defensively are shocking. So, and
Yeah.
I do think this Sunderland away is
One goal conceded
where
in 3 games.
don't give Verbruggen his fucking flowers. Fuck
He
off.
has been good lately. But yeah.
Lately, but it's not forever. And
Yeah. He has a mistake in him.
yeah, it does. So my Towns and Brunson with 12 points each. Very nice. Um, yeah, I would probably bench Senesi for Anderson.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I think it's a bit of a 50-50 for me. Like you mentioned, Senesi
Hmm.
just has that attacking threat.
Hmm.
Should be good for DEFCON usually. Didn't against West Ham, of course, because they conceded or they went down early and they were chasing the game the whole time. So less DEFCON opportunities there. But yeah, it is a bit of a tough decision for me. But I think Anderson is more than good enough to be a starter. And yeah, he's just been so good. Like he deserves his flowers, unlike Verbruggen and unlike Liverpool. Just finally to have another stab at Liverpool there. But you also get another chance to have another stab at something because you usually do at the end of the podcast. You have a tradition around here to let Kevin have the final words, the last words of the podcast before we end it. So, Kevin, take it away before we end this podcast.
Yeah, the thing that I would like to say is, and this is gonna sound crazy, but thank you, Arne Slot.